Toulouse came away with a big, big win today. And for all you fans, you would be lying if you told me that Bayonne did not give you a little bit of a scare. Toulouse were kind of expected to win. It is what it is. And ultimately, they did manage to get through. But Bayonne put in a stellar, stellar performance. They really pushed Toulouse to the edge. And although Toulouse did manage to, well, they dominated a good portion of the game, Bayonne by no means were an easy task. They matched them penalty for penalty. Segons kept up with Thomas Ramos, and that is not an easy thing to do. But ultimately, Ramos did end up converting both tries that were on show, and they came through Grau and Intermac, which ultimately gave them the points needed to get through this game. Now, this was a difficult game from both ends. A classic semi final in the top 14. Both teams put everything out. It was very fast paced, heavy hitting rugby. And honestly, it came down to the kicking. The kicking really, really mattered. It gave Toulouse the crucial amount of points to keep them ticking. And they basically kept Bayonne chasing them throughout the game, which was needed. Without having that consistency of Tomo Ramos, this game could have gone to a completely different way. But because of him being so good when it comes down to his kicking throughout the game, whether it's in open play or in a penalty situation, we know he is reliable, he is consistent, and he just does what he does, right? So ultimately, look, this game was won, in my opinion, by the better squad. They had the players, they have the performances throughout the season, and they had the resilience today. They managed to put through, you know, a solid, solid performance. Yes, it wasn't a performance that they completely blew Bayonne out the water, but if that were to happen, I would find that weird, right? Considering where we are, semi-finals in the top 14, you aren't here by accident, right? You are just not here by accident. And like I say, Bayonne put in stellar, stellar performances. I mean, they had more carries than Toulouse, 92 to Toulouse's 56. But you see, the thing is, although Bayonne, they carried more, right? I think throughout the game, they actually had more possession of of the ball. It is what was done with the ball when they had it, which made all the difference, right? So we look at the line breaks. Although Bayonne dominated in terms of carries, they dominated in terms of post contact meters, which were Bayonne had 183 to Toulouse 109. It was what happened with the ball, right? Although Bayonne dominated, they only had one line break compared to Toulouse four. That makes a big, big difference, right? So open play, they were brilliant. They were absolutely, absolutely brilliant. But when it came down to the scrums, when it came down to the lineouts, Toulouse was solid. They were absolutely, absolutely solid. And this is what is needed, right? Seven scrums, I believe it was 100%. Yeah, seven scrums, 100%. Lineouts, 17 lineouts, I believe, 82% won. And we look at Brennan, we look at Thibaut Flamel. They were crucial. They were very, very crucial to this to this win. We had a defensive masterclass holding the lines, but not only that, we had players like your Jacques Willis, recently adopted French, um, absolute monster, absolute monster. He's one of those players that you want, that I'm feel so bad that he cannot play for England because of a silly rule. Because ultimately he is a kind of player that England would thrive with. Obviously, his brother currently plays for it, but Having both of them play would be amazing. Would be absolutely, absolutely amazing. Um, and yeah, you had big hitters like Kroos. You had Grau, who ended up getting himself a try as well. High tackle rates, brilliant defensive work, ability to move that ball out nice and quick. And as we all know, the French rugby love that fast pace, heavy hitting action. And that is exactly what we got today. Um, it was just, it was a good, solid semi final. I'm not about to say I was blown away by the fantastic play by Toulouse. Bayonne played very, very well and they defended well. But ultimately, a lot of mistakes were made. A lot of penalties were conceded, but a lot of penalties were also converted as well. So it was um, it was a tight game. It's just Bayonne couldn't convert that possession. They couldn't convert the carries. They couldn't convert the post contact meters into actual line breaks, into breakthrough play, and into points. They really, really struggled with that. And they really struggled to break down that Toulouse defensive line. So ultimately, I believe this game came down to Toulouse's strategic kicking, as we all know just how good they are. Plus, they are missing a couple of players. Their defensive consistency. We saw their defensive line. We saw how much trouble Bayonne really, really had breaking them down. We saw how quickly they were to be able to get back into those lines and really, really put pressure on Bayonne. And then their control down the stretch was just phenomenal. So ultimately, Bayonne matched them physically, which that's a hard task to do on itself. But they just lacked that cutting edge, that breakthrough to really, really set home, you know, the standard, you know, they just didn't have that final oomph to really break through Toulouse because any time that they had anything, Toulouse would regroup very, very fast and they would just stop Bayonne. I don't know whether it was Bayonne that was a little bit lackluster or if it was a Toulouse side that were very resilient, knew the defensive lines very well, got back up into it really, really quickly to be able to stop Bayonne. So Toulouse maintained composure in one of the most important games, semi-final of the top 14 when it's needed. They got through the points that was needed. Thomas Ramos being Thomas Ramos, in my opinion, man of the match, bagged himself 20 points, maybe even more. I can't remember the exact stat off my head, but for any player to be able to do that is ridiculous. 6 penalties, 2 conversions. The guy's a kicking machine. What more could you want? Seriously, what more could you want? So, Bayonne, hats off to you, even though my hat's still on. Toulouse, I kind of expected you to win, but Bayern gave you a little bit of a scare, especially at the end. That nice little try at the end, to really hammer home, don't mess with us. But ultimately, it was too little, too late. Hey, it is what it is. Ramos was just consistent, guys. He was just there, and I can't wait. I really, really can't wait for this final. Right, we are going to be seeing Bordeaux versus Toulon, and that's going to be phenomenal. BRBRA obviously not in the side, but Damien Penaud is. Bordeaux are going to be going full out, balls to the wall. They're going to want to attack this really, really quickly, just like Bayonne came out doing, getting themselves a penalty within the first minute. I think the first minute, 2 minutes in, got themselves a try, and I thought, oh my word, this is not going to go well. This is not going to go well. But Toulouse pulled it back relatively quickly and just continued on from there. Made the most out of every single mistake, right? So let me know what your thoughts were in relation to the game. What were your thoughts on the refs' decisions? And What could have been? What could Bayonne have done to break down this defensively strong Toulouse side? Hmm? Because honestly, to me, it looked like Bayonne were tired. They got very, very tired. They couldn't break down. They saw that, and I just felt like at points they just kept going for Plan A instead of looking at other routes, other options to try and get to around this Toulouse side. So let me know what your thoughts in the comment section below. And always, please like and subscribe. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye.